Hi, my name is Ivachara and this is my Trinity Grade 7 in Speaking Drama. Task 1. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come and he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek, and when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Then one day, the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come, and climb on my trunk, and swing from my branches, eat apples, play in my shade, and be happy." "I'm too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money." "I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only my leaves and my apples." "Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you'll be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered all her apples and carried them away. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. Then one day the boy came back and the tree shook with joy. She said, "Come, boy, come, and climb on my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy." "I'm too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm. I want a wife and I want children, and so I need a house. Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house, but you may cut off my branches to build your house. Then you will be happy." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered, "come and play." "I'm too old and sad to play," said the boy. "I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" "Cut down my trunk and build a boat, then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut off her trunk and built his boat and sailed away, and the tree was happy. But not really. And after a long time, the boy came back again. "I'm sorry, boy," said the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. My apples are gone. My teeth are too weak for apples. My branches are gone. You cannot swing on them. I'm too old to swing on branches. My trunk is gone," said the tree. "You cannot climb. I'm too tired to climb," said the boy. "I'm sorry," said the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I'm just an old stump. I'm sorry. I don't need very much now," said the boy. Just a quiet place to sit and rest. I'm very tired. Well, said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could. Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down. Sit down and rest. And the boy did, and the tree was happy. I'm now going to be moving on to my task 2, titled The First Inaugural Speech by Franklin D. Roosevelt. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national lives, a leadership of frankness and vigor has been met with that understanding and support of the people, which is essential to victory. And I am convinced that you will again give us the support to leadership in these critical days. More important, a host of unemployed citizens face the grim problem of existence, and an equally great toil met with little return. Only a foolish optimist can deny the dark realities of the moment. Our greatest primary task is to put people to work. This is no unsolvable problem if we face it wisely and courageously. There are many ways in which it can be helped, but it can never be helped by merely talking about it. We must act, and act quickly. I am prepared, under my constitutional duty, to recommend the measures that a stricken nation in the midst of a stricken world may require. Those measures are such other measures as the Congress may build out of its experience and wisdom. I shall seek, within my constitutional duty, to bring to speedy adoption. But in the event that the Congress shall fail to take one of the two clear courses, and in the event that the national emergency is still critical, I shall not evade the clear course of duty that shall then confront me. I shall ask the Congress for one remaining instrument to meet the crisis board. Executive power to wage a war against the emergency, as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe. Thank you. This is my task 3, titled Plastic Figurines by Ella Carmen Greenham. Sometimes I was 9 when they told us there was something wrong. Nearly 9. Mom and Dad didn't really talk about it in front of me. Mom said that he was different from other kids. They didn't really say much in front of me, but when I think about it now, maybe they didn't say much at all. When I was small, I used to wake up in the middle of the night, probably around 10 o'clock, because I could hear them laughing. I'd never cry, because it was nice. You know, it was nice to hear my mom and my dad laughing together. Mom told me that there was something in his brain that was different. That he liked to put his stuffed animals in a line or whatever. And that was something they said was like a symptom. I used to go into his room and I'd see all the stuffed animals in a line and I'd mess them up. I messed the line up. Like that would make him. After they told us that there was something wrong, the house got dead quiet. They didn't laugh. He couldn't handle it. Dad couldn't handle the embarrassment. I think idiots. She was a really good mom. Too good. People would look, you know how people look at kids when they misbehave. When you know there's something wrong, different. They'd look at him like, oh, he can't help it. That look of pity. And I'd smile. I would smile at them. That smile where you tilt your head and you act like you're on the same page as them. I'd smile that smile when I was 10. I'd learned that apologetic, awkward smile by the time I was 10. I was ashamed, embarrassed of him when I was 10. I love him. I love him so much, but sometimes she can't bring herself to say it. Task 4, Expressive Reading. To the Little Girl in a Village Home I Never Met by Jennifer Wong. been proud of you. Your bottled up self and penny saving habits. Time and again, you discouraged me, saying, "Would you stop dreaming? Only the rich could afford a hobby." Van Gogh was never famous until he died. I forgot the girl you once were, who sat all day in a dim village home. Faded wallpaper, a dial-up TV, a tarpaulin bed on the veranda, thinking, today, I'm gonna die. But no one is even watching because your mother had a long way to walk back uphill at the pace of bound feet. Your father existed in your imagination across the green hills, and your ears still echoed with his instructions. Just call HSBC if you need money, and they will give you plenty. How on earth your mother escaped from Shandong to Kowloon and survived? I couldn't imagine. The day I stood in a gown at the Sheldonian, listened to all that Latin, I couldn't shrug off this girl I never met, who never finished the village primary and used to stare at the sea all day dreaming of Australia. Now I'm going to be moving on to part 2 of expressive reading, which is the text analysis. How can a reading of the poem allow elements such as rhythm, rhyme, meter, period, pace, and context to underpin the performance without overwhelming it? In my opinion, I was really careful not to force any rhymes because it didn't really have a lot of them, so forcing it felt very unnatural and not so part of the poem. Along with that, the rhythm was very focused. It was very on beat. So I tried to continue that throughout the entire poem. For period, I made sure that the tone sounded very conversational and it felt reflective rather than a performance, because I think that really helps me perform it really well, and also for it to be more natural rather than a dialogue. For pace, I made sure to go slow with heavy emphasis on pauses to really sink in the message and to show the contrast between the starting and the ending of the poem. And then for context, I allowed the reading of the poem to show the difference between her mother versus her life and how her father existed. And I allowed that to come through with my emotion to make sure that the poem was much clearer to understand for the audience. What technical challenges did you face while performing different parts of the poem? One for me was actually finding the right spots to breathe. It was quite hard because it was all in a flow, so to find the right spots to breathe was quite difficult, but through help of practicing and with help from my tutor, I managed to find that. Along with that, pronouncing certain words that were unnatural to my vocabulary, such as Shandong and Kowloon, they were quite difficult, and I wanted to make sure that I was culturally sensitive, so practicing that again and again really helped me through a bit of repetition. I also used to go onto Google Translate, enter the words, and then play it in the native voice so I could understand what it actually meant and how it sounded for a national person to say it. That is my text analysis done. I'm now moving on to my task 5, reflection. How does the context, narrative, themes of one of the pieces describe it? For me, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein is about the relationship between a boy and a tree. So it's all about growing up and seeing how they grow up together, building a bond. He loves to eat apples, play in her shade, climb, and just have tons of fun every day with her. But I think the main theme of this poem is actually selfless sacrifice, because I think by just giving and giving, the tree kept losing parts of herself just to make the boy happy, without expecting anything in return. I think that shows what we do for our loved ones. A part of me felt really sad while seeing this, because she allowed him to cut off her trunk and cut off her branches, steal her apples, sell them. So I think it really pulled the heartstring there, but it really changes because as he becomes older and as the poem progresses, he becomes much more selfish. Overall, I think The Giving Tree is about love and selfless sacrifice, as I mentioned before. I think this really shows us the importance of gratitude and kindness. Question 2. How did I connect to one of my characters' emotional journey through the performance? In my opinion, I think I really connected to the little girl in a village home I never met, because it really showed how tiny and lonely she was going through all of this. And I felt really connected to that because I was drawn to the really deep emotion of it being lonely and quite mysterious, almost unknown. Like no one really sees her or notices or acknowledges her when she's there. I imagined a little girl living in the middle of a village of hills, just sitting alone in a not so well lit home. The poem talks about her pain and suffering, and then evolves to her success. So I think during the start I spoke softly and was in a quite mellow tone, but then towards the end I got a smile to my face, and I think that really helped. Section 2. Describe and demonstrate the vocal and physical techniques that I have been working on in rehearsal, including the reticence into articulation to one of my pieces. According to me, while I was rehearsing my speech, titled The First Inaugural Speech by Franklin D. Roosevelt, I worked really confidently on my tone and a positive hand gesture, which was this. I made sure to acknowledge the audience and also continued to use a strong pace along with lots of pauses. I also restricted my physical movements to large, vast movements like I did in my poem. Instead, I keep them more in a box while also acknowledging the audience, while also being extremely strong with my voice and my expression. For example, during the line, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Using emphasis and pauses really helps. Lastly, what choices did I explore in relation to one of my pieces' interpretation? So, while preparing my pieces, I definitely had to experiment and try different things. So, for example, in my poetry piece, I had to experiment with different types of actions. I went from big actions to expressive, but also not too grand actions. Initially, when I was practicing, they were kind of out of order and my tone was too loud. But eventually, through help of my mentor, I got that in control. Along with that, in my speech, initially, I didn't really figure out how to project a powerful voice. But then, towards the end, I learned how to use pauses efficiently and also to use a tone that was professional and confident. Thank you so much, examiner, for reviewing my performance. Have a nice day.